Well, great is great. So when something's great, you can feel it, even just to you. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. So it's all the expression of what it is. So I'm just looking for what sounds like itself. It's almost like, I don't know, it's like I've heard, people who, carve out of stone or whatever, the idea that it's always in there and you're just sort of excavating it, even though you are making it. Like that's a lot of how I see songs and production is like, well, if you're doing something extremely synthetic, it's like, well, just find it. That was the thing, that last St. Vincent album that we did together, Mass Seduction. It was like, there was a lot that was like extremely, like I think it was on like Sugar Boy, where it's like this like frenetic, super synthetic thing that we mostly created ARPs off of a Moog. That was it. It just felt so cool. You brought up Look What You Made Me Do. That was the same thing. Like, there's a really cool way to do anything. So you're gonna have something that's like really menacing and synthetic. Well, make it on a modular, make it on something really interesting, make the drums off some weird modular stuff, don't use sounds that have been used before, and then you jump all the way to something incredibly organic or folky. Everything, whether it's, metal or Joan Baez, like everything has its best self. It's just about finding that. So I don't think too much about genre or sound. I just think about sort of like excavating the song as is. Sonics come into play immediately before production, even writing, which they're all sort of, depending on the song you're doing, it's pretty rare that you just write a song and then produce it. Like, it's all kind of just happening. And it could start anywhere. I mean, for me, it could start with a lyric, it could start with a sound, it could start with an idea. You could hear something and think, oh, that's a cool beat, and then you play that beat, and then it leads to this and to that. Like, it's very egoless in that way, in the sense that you're just in there and you just are just going to try things until you hear one of those things. If I'm alone, it's really the same process if I'm alone or if I'm with someone else. So if I'm writing or producing with someone, we're just in and we're talking and messing around and singing and making sounds until someone's like, oh, that's cool. And then if I'm alone, the same thing, I'm just doing it in my own head. And so that's, it's just something, building blocks. Oh, that bass line, that's cool. Like, and then you get more literal later. Like, I believe in the song sounding like the song. I believe in recording vocals to reflect what's being said. I believe in a lot of literal things. Like, I believe in dry vocals if it's something that feels like is meant to be told to one person. I believe in using doubles and stacks and reverbs if the sentiment is more like a voice of God. I mean, that's a very real thing in my opinion. If you have a vocal and the lyric is like, hi, I'm talking only to you and we're at the studio and I love you, or whatever it is, the second you double that vocal or put a little ambience in it with reverb or delay, all of a sudden it just goes away, even if it's, no matter how loud it is. And that can be a wonderful thing. It's all about what is being said in the song. So once you actually have something, then you really start to make those decisions of what needs to get in the way. But yeah, it just starts, I can't even begin to think how some things start. It's almost like a fever dream every time you like start something. You're like, how did we even get here? But you're there and you are off running. My vocal chain is pretty, standard in terms of, I mean, I love the CM7 Wonder Audio. Every time I go to the studio, there's always a vintage, 47, and they always sound great, but I kind of end up using it more on guitars and usually just go through the CM7. I just, for some reason, I just absolutely love it and kind of feel like it's just like a wonderful jumping off point. But then usually it's kind of like I was saying about like having like room mics or having like tape echoes going. Like, usually when I'm recording vocals, I'm just trying to take a lot to then figure out what's interesting, to figure out what works for that song. And then that sort of begins a jumping off point. I also think that whether I'm recording my vocals or someone else's, like, it's nice to like build a layer of confidence before you have to like do the vocal. Like, so like, oh, like this would be a cool backup. Great, let's get it. And let's get 8 stacks of it so it just sounds interesting and cool. And let's make it really stereo and then sort of make it distant. Like, getting someone to use their voice before they have to like get the perfect take. And often, it's just like when you get an idea, you just sing it. That's what's nice about having everything up. Like, I think it's very destructive to like do vocals. I think the second someone's like, you have to go do vocals, unless they're like a wild like vaudeville performer who's like waiting for their moment, like some part of you get scared, especially if you're a songwriter. You're just like, oh, I don't know if I want to say it. So I always have the mic set up here. I don't really believe in vocal booths. So in my studio, I'm just mic's right here, and as we're working or as writing or as the ideas are happening, it's like, oh, let's put it in. put it in, even though the lyrics not perfect.
I'm still looking for my own version of America, one without the gun, where the flag can freely fly.
And that's can create a huge challenge at the end of the day. There's a song on the last Lorde album called Liability where it's a piano and a vocal, it's the entire song.
Baby really hurt me, crying in the taxi. He don't wanna know me, says he made the big mistake of dancing in my store.
And we just kept being like, oh, just put it in. And then she kept, perfecting the lyric. And all of a sudden we had this song where there were all these brilliant vocal moments from different takes, which, I have my vocal chain, but it's always different. And with that one, we sat and my engineer, Laura Sisk, who's been with me on everything I've ever done and mixes records with me too, she's a master at that of saying like, okay, we have the heart and soul here. And I don't care if it's, a little, it doesn't have to be perfect, but there's some moments here which totally fucking sound like different vocal sounds. Like, this has to become one thing because this is perfect. It's almost like dusting off like dinosaur bones or something. You're like, okay, like I see it. Nobody move. Like, let's just get it there. So all I care about is the feeling. And for that reason, it's like we're just getting vocals. And I mean, not even 9 out of 10. It's like 9.99999 out of 10 times. It's like some of those first vocals from writing are really perfect. And that's, this Lana record, a lot of that was that where it's like, get it, think about it, figure it out, just throw in a vocal. And it's so throwaway, it doesn't matter. And often when you just throw in a vocal, that's when you actually get the take that sounds like you.